we used to have our average round set at 4.5 or 4 hours and 35 minutes, but it seems like there's been a big push the last year and a half where golf courses are shorting that or cutting that time down to 3 hours and 55 minutes, 4 hours.
Really?
Yeah, we're seeing it a lot at a lot of properties all over the country. So,
what's up, golfers everywhere? That's Chris Vizzerra, avid golfer. Tried to walk on the ASU golf team when Phil Mickelson was there, and field engineer for GPS Industries, the manufacturers of golf cart GPS systems. Now, we were interested in having Vizz on the podcast because he's got his boots on the ground. He's shaking hands with the owners and operators of golf courses from Japan to the Caribbean and from Canada to South America. So let's get right into it. Are you ready? We do it fast. We make it fun, so turn it up and enjoy this episode of the Pace of Change Golf Podcast. Hey guys, this episode of the Pace of Change Golf Podcast is brought to you by TAILOR Brands. It's 2016 and it's never been easier to start a business, sell a product, or offer a service. But oftentimes the first step in the process, designing a high quality logo and brand, keeps many would-be entrepreneurs from moving forward. But what if you could design anything you need in less than 30 seconds at an affordable cost? Does it sound impossible? With TAILOR Brands' online platform, you can. At TAILORBrands.com, you can build custom logos, presentations, or even entire brands with ease. No hidden tricks, no pre-made logos. I've personally used their platforms a couple times now, and just about every other online logo design website you can find in the past. Without a doubt, TAILOR Brands' logo building process is the easiest, fastest, and highest quality product I've ever tested. Now, I could easily spend hundreds of dollars on other crowdsourcing design sites, and unfortunately, I have. But don't make the same mistake. Try it for free today. You can go through the entire process and then decide if you want to make the purchase. And as a special offer to our listeners, purchase the professional bundle and receive a free social profile banner upgrade. Guys, that's a $25 value. Use the promo code PACEOFCHANGE at checkout. Vizz, how are you doing, man?
Pretty good.
Good.
Did you go to the WGC today?
No, I'm going tomorrow.
Yeah, me too.
I saw some of the guys hitting, 355 today?
Yeah.
I guess on one of the holes, maybe the first hole, I think they were hitting over 400.
Well, I mean, yeah, like the fifth hole or whatever. I mean, Jason Day hit it 370 yards. And I watched the Long Drive Championship, and they were flying at 370.
That's a long ways.
It's a long ways, man. I watched the Long Drive from this year a couple nights ago just to see what the setup was like. They have 6 light towers on those big cranes, or maybe it's only 5. But anyways, there's 2 on the left side, 1 points away, 1 points towards. 2 on the right side, 1 points away, and they're probably 150 yards out or 200 yards out. And then up where they're teeing off, they have another one shining right down on that. And those 5 massive lights light up a 500-yard area.
What's the width of the fairway? Isn't it 60 yards or 70
There's
yards?
100.
Oh, is it?
I think so. Isn't it 100 yards wide?
I know it was at WinStar, just right there on the border of Texas and Oklahoma.
It's 60 yards wide and 450 yards long.
That's insane.
But anyways, that was the setup. They had that, and then they probably had, a few cameras, but it was nothing. They had some stands, 2 sets of stands set up, and it wasn't this huge affair, It was a very simple setup, but they make it look so good, They make it look very professional and very prime time.
Yeah.
I wonder why it left Mesquite, Nevada, because I know they used to have it up there all the time.
Yeah.
But I don't know, this year was...
Well, this year was in downtown Las Vegas, wasn't it?
No, it was at the Windstar Casino,
Okay,
which is
that's right.
just on the border.
Right on the border, way down there, yeah. Do you guys know who Bombtech is?
I've heard of him.
Bombtech makes a drive. This guy basically started making drivers in his garage or whatever, but they're two-piece drivers, and they're plasma welded together. So because there's only two pieces instead of the traditional four, you get better energy transfer. So you get, a hotter fade, you get the ball going further. And then the way that they design the underside aerodynamically, it helps to reduce drag. So you get just a little bit more clubhead speed. So anyways, he's gained a lot of popularity. In fact, if you follow him, he's just kind of selling on Facebook. Like, he sells on Facebook and YouTube.
Wow.
He told me, he goes, dude, I could spend money on advertising all day long. He's like, I put up one video that some customer shot, it's not even that good. It's not like a professional video, but these people eat it up. I get 80, 90,000 hits, and I probably he said, if I make a couple $100 investment on Facebook ads, I can reap, 50 times that.
So the face is hotter. I thought that the PGA or the USGA regulated the coefficient of restitution.
Bombtech is a conforming head.
Okay.
So he's on the conforming club list. So man, I'm ready to just jump right into this. But first of all, tell us a little bit about yourself. Take maybe 1 minute.
Well, my name is Chris Vizzerra, and I am 46 years old. Been golfing for roughly 43, 44 years. Picked it up when my father picked it up, so it's been part of the family since we were babies. Never really had any lessons, all self-taught. I was fortunate enough to have the ability to play sports and so forth, and it's
So tell me, you've never had a lesson?
No.
Wow. And at one point you were a plus what?
I think the lowest I've ever been is about a plus 1.5, 1.9, something like that.
Oh, wow.
Pretty good for never having had a lesson.
Yeah, that's incredible.
No, it's just, banging balls out, hitting left to right shots, right to left, high, low. You have to figure it out, and that's basically how I practice and hit range balls, several times a week, and just always loved the game of golf. Always have.
Were you on the high school team?
Yes, I was. Went to a high school on the west side of Phoenix called Agua Fria. We had won regionals 3 years in a row, and we won state. I think it was my junior year, and still great friends with the guys that are on the team. We still compete against each other, and we love it. So it's great.
Did anyone from your team play in college?
No. Nope. We one of my high school golf mates. He was roommates with Rich Beam.
Oh, nice.
So he, of course, won the PGA in I believe it was 2002.
So what are some of the tracks that you guys played in high school?
In high school, we played mainly on the west side of Phoenix, a 54-hole facility called the Wigwam.
Yeah.
Back then, they had the gold course, the west course, and the blue course.
Uh-huh.
So we basically played those every single day.
We're looking at you know about speed golf a little bit. I'm not sure if you've had the chance to play yet or not, but I'm sure you're going to be doing that soon, huh?
Chris and I have gone out just for fun, but he hasn't competed in a competition yet.
Okay, all right, so he gets a little bit of it, but anyways, we had someone go out and look at that golf facility to have a speed golf event there. I've never been there, but what do you think? And kind of knowing what you know about that golf course, do you think that it would be good to have a speed golf event there?
I think it would. 54-hole facility. Most of the terrain is flat. Maybe small, gentle rolling hills, but mainly flat. Everything on the west side of Phoenix is flat.
Yeah.
Farmland, so forth. I think it'd be a great facility. I mean, it's, not comparable to Abandoned Dunes, and I don't know how the Glen Club was last year, but it's always been one of my favorite golf courses. Every time I go back to Arizona to visit family and so forth, I try and go out there if possible. So.
You know, I love desert golf. Is Wigwam, since it's down kind of west of town in the valley, so to speak, is it still desert golf, or do they try? There's some desert golf where they try to turn it into kind of like a parkland course. You know what I mean? Where there's more rough and there's more grass, as opposed to kind of the, you know, it's target golf up in the mountains up there. You know, which I love. But how is it down in the valley down there?
Actually, the Wigwam is not desert golf. The 3 courses have been there for, I don't know, 50, 60 years. They have giant eucalyptus trees. It's really similar to the old Scottsdale Country Club.
Yes.
Just grass all the way throughout the entire property. I know golf courses nowadays, with all the water restrictions, most of them are now desert golf, where you can only have grass in the tee area, the fairway, and the green.
Yeah.
Else is kind of desert rock or dirt.
Yeah. Do you like that kind of golf? I mean, you grew up there.
I love all kinds of golf.
Yeah, that's true. But what's your favorite kind?
Actually, the Gold Course is one of my all-time favorite golf courses. Just, knowing I had my first eagle there, we used to play so often, I didn't need a yardage book.
Nice.
Wow.
What about you accompanied me to Bandon Dunes in 2014 before the Speed Golf World Championships? How do those courses rate among your favorite?
Oh, geez. There's no words to describe Bandon Dunes. The first course we played, Old McDonald, was, I mean, ever since that first tee shot, that entire property knocked my socks off. Just out of this world. You know, seeing the ghost tree from the first tee, finishing all 18 holes. What is it? They even have a copy of the road hole.
Yeah.
17th at St. Andrews. The Redan hole. Just phenomenal.
Yeah. So, all right. So you're passionate about the game of golf. You love the game of golf. You go off to college, and you know, how do you find yourself? So, first of all, what was your major? Why don't you take us through your college career into kind of your professional career?
Well, I started out aerospace engineering, and probably that was when I tried out at Arizona State. It was fall of '88, actually.
Okay.
Mickelson we're the same age. He was already on the team, so there was one spot on the B squad. There was probably 30 guys, maybe 30, 35 other guys that were trying out for this one spot.
Wow!
Just these guys were so good. I mean, much better than I was. You know, we had won state and everything, and I thought my game was up there, but wasn't even close to these guys.
Wow!
I got blown out of the water, but it was really neat for me to, personally experience golf with these guys. You know.
Yes.
Back then, I think the ASU team was probably, I want to say, top 5 in the nation.
Yeah.
That was pretty good, and much better than what I could do. And as far as my scholastic career, I probably didn't study as well as I should have, but I kept on going to school for different things. I changed majors probably 6 or 7 times.
Oh wow!
And I caught myself starting to get into money situations. So I worked for Wells Fargo Bank for 11 and a half years, and just kind of faded away from school into the banking industry. And after 11 and a half years, I just didn't love it anymore. Just kind of quit, just kind of put in my notice, took a couple months off to play golf every day and just think about what I wanted to do.
That's awesome.
And, at that time, the old girlfriend was, I'm tired of seeing you home all the time. I think you need to do something. So just walked into a temporary agency, asked for any computer jobs, and she was like, you look and talk like a golfer. It's like, well, I do. I've been doing it all my entire life. She's like, give me 5 minutes. I think I have a job for you. Had an interview 15 minutes after that and had the job within 3 minutes.
Oh, my gosh.
At GPS Industries.
At GPS Industries. And come May of this year, it'll be 16 years that I've been with the company. Just
Nice.
Wow, man. That's amazing. That's not the first time I've heard kind of events play out like that, where it's just a completely, seems like almost like a random place and moment in time where it just something happens, like magic happens, and it totally redirects the rest of your life, which is so cool.
Yep.
So you got into the GPS Industries, and at that time, back there 16 years ago, were they solely focused on providing GPS for golf carts in the golf industry, or are they branched out into other kind of verticals?
No, we were actually back then we were called ProLink, and we were basically just set up for golf carts.
Yeah.
So there was a bunch of questions if all these new applications have affected our business model, but it actually hasn't. It seems like the GPS for golf carts is mainly for the property owners, the golf course owners. They can maintain their fleet that way, where these applications are mainly for the golfer.
Yes.
And yes, we do provide yardage for the golfer, but it's mainly so that our customers, the property owners, can actually manage their fleet, manage their batteries, and so forth. Manage the property. They can see where all the golfers are driving their golf carts. If we're killing grass, killing turf, we can actually map everything out and see. We can pull up reports and see like the history of where all the carts are going and so forth. And by doing this, we can also we have measurements built into the system where we can see the pace of play. We can pull up reports on how fast customers are playing any hole, any given day, at what speed or what amount of time, and we can adjust that as well. So
it's interesting to me. Yeah, it's I would think that any database that's capturing GPS data is capturing also the timestamp of when that data was captured. So every single GPS company out there could just pull up that database and query that column with that information, and now we've got a pace of play system. It just seems like that's.
And it seems like the last year, we used to have our average round set at 4.5 or 4 hours and 35 minutes, but it seems like there's been a big push the last year and a half where golf courses are shorting that or cutting that time down to 3 hours and 55 minutes, 4 hours.
Really?
Yeah, we're seeing it a lot at a lot of properties all over the country. So,
do you know why that is? I mean, have they realized that if you tell people that the expected pace to play is 4.5, they're going to play in 5. Whereas if you tell people 3 hours and 55 minutes, they'll play in 4:15.
Right.
Is that the reasoning?
I think that's some of it, but I know a lot of people don't have the time that we used to. So, but also, the more rounds they can get per day, the more money the course makes. So that's
another part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it all comes down to the money, but it's.
Does the system need to know what interval the tee times are at?
No, we don't actually go by intervals. We actually just measure time. So we have basically a hole divided up into 3 parts: a tee zone, hole zone, and a green zone. So once that cart enters that tee zone, it knows its location, and then it knows when it goes from the tee zone to the hole zone, and then when it goes to the green zone. So when it leaves the green zone and enters the tee zone on the next hole, that's how it kind of keeps track of all your time, and then whatever you assign that hole, the pace for that hole, it measures it up against that. So.
And then what's the purpose of cutting it up in 3? I like the fact that you cut a hole up into 3 parts, because that can really help you analyze that big data. I think, when you can conglomerate all that together and go, man, it seems like on this golf course, the problems are in 11 fairway and on, 8 green. That seems to be where people are taking in an inordinate amount of time.
Yeah, I'm sure we could change the software so it's more pieces than that to make it more accurate, but
yeah.
That's when you have a cart drive into the tee zone, that's when also the new graphic shows up and so forth. So it's, I don't know, it's kind of always been like that with all the systems that I've seen in the past.
How difficult do you
I'm
think
sure.
it would be to create a system, a GPS system that specifically for speed golf? Okay, so it's
Well,
not that easy
no, it isn't that easy. Well, I mean,
because it's just time. You're just adding
unless
time.
you have a cart, yeah. But I mean, we don't have anything
You
as
don't
far
have
as like
a remote
smartwatch
device. Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. Okay, I see.
Although the scorer, in this official speed golf competition, the scorer does follow you in a cart.
Yeah, that's true. Absolutely. So it wouldn't be exact, but it'd be pretty close.
If he had a monitor in his
Yeah.
cart, we could definitely keep track of that.
Yeah, so it's really not. It's just a matter of having it appear on the interface. You know what I mean?
So in terms of the interest in pace of play from course owners and operators, is that a big selling point of the GPS systems?
It never used to be, but now I believe it's starting to become more of an issue. Just the RNA has used our system to show, how we keep track of pace of play and so forth. Just to use an example, I mean, I'm sure they're not, they're not solely using our system, but I mean, they have used it to, I guess, just record like what some of the courses are doing and to display, the reports and so forth that they're finding. So.
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned RNA because Scott and I are big believers that the RNA is kind of out in front of the USGA on the pace of play issue. And they're actually more inclined to tell players that they need to speed up. Whereas in the USGA's approach, they're always like, well, if you don't put the pins in hard spots and you keep the rough mode down and you don't have tee time intervals closer than
11 minutes.
Yeah, 11 minutes, whatever. But they're after all of these like things that they can do that aren't asking the player to speed up. Whereas the RNA is like, no, you're just slow. You need to speed up. So it's
wasn't it the first tournament this year that Jordan Spieth was asked to speed up?
And it's interesting that was a European Tour event too. And I think how many people were penalized, Scott? It's more than just Spieth.
It was 5, and then the average amount of time that they were able to pick up the rounds was like 13 minutes or something. 13
minutes, yeah. They were actually able to increase the pace of play by 13 minutes, which is, the USGA is like, if we can speed it up by 4 minutes, we're doing really good. And
I'm very proud of ourselves.
The RNA's just taking names over there. So explain a little bit more exactly how the RNA was able to, were they looking at the data and going, okay, players are taking too long on this hole because why?
Well, there's several factors about that. It could be maybe the hole locations are difficult or what have you. Maybe the weather was causing confusion with the golfer. But with our system, we do have a real-time pace of play. So you can see in real time, however long it's taking, each golf cart to play that hole. And it's moving.
But that's what the RNA was looking at was aggregate data, right?
They were looking at live data.
Live data. Interesting.
Live data.
Nice.
So they have their system up, and we have our system all over the world. But we can pull up any golf course that has our system right now and check their data.
Oh my gosh, man! Yeah. Why hasn't the USGA approached you guys and been like, look, we'll pay you a lot of money for that data? Because now they're going to spend the next 3 or 5 years trying to collect data.
I have no idea, but we are a small company, so we are growing and things are getting better with our company. But right now we're still trying to focus in on ourselves. We're still trying to work on our software, make it better, make it more user friendly and so forth. So maybe in the future we can branch out and so forth. But
Well, I remember the first uplink software and hardware, and it was really just like an LCD readout that gave you yardage. I'm sure it was doing more than that behind the scenes, but now you guys are rocking like a full. How big is that? It's like a 10-inch screen.
Yes, 10-inch touchscreen.
10-inch touchscreen, full color display, sound. Some of the courses have like a voiceover from the course designer or Peter Costas or whoever telling you about the whole. Mm-hmm. So you guys have come like this tremendous way in coming from like 3-digit LCD readout to full color touchscreen. Where is it headed next?
That we have some ideas in the work. I don't think I'm at liberty to speak about those.
For competitive reasons.
Okay.
Yes.
Very cool.
But
you guys got new stuff coming out all the time.
Yeah, we're always making enhancements with our software.
Are y'all committed to staying tethered to the golf cart? Is that part of it, or is there a strategic purpose behind that?
I am not positive on that.
Okay.
But it sounds like a big selling point though is helping the golf course manage the fleet.
Yeah, again, it's reaching out. Yeah, your target market and your customer is the operator, not the player, in a sense. Absolutely. That for the player, they get this extra bonus of having a great 10-inch touchscreen TV that tells them exactly where they are.
Yeah, and you can see there's video. You can play videos on these screens and so forth.
So tell us. So another benefit of your system is that, in addition to giving all this valuable data to the course operator, you can actually lock down the carts and keep them at slower speeds in areas where there's pedestrians. And like if somebody tries to drive the cart off property, you can just shut it off, stuff like that. Tell us a little bit more about those kinds of security features.
Yeah, our company, we're teamed up with Club Car, and our engineers have been working with their engineers for several years, ever since the Uplink product. And they were based here in Austin as well. Basically, what our system did was help the course operator protect their investment as far as, like, for example, we can control the speed of golf cars. For example, if you're going downhill, we can slow it down. Just not all golf cars, but with Club Car, golf manufacturer golf carts, we can slow these carts down just so everybody drives in is safe and not go crazy when they're driving downhill. For example, and also if you're driving too close to a green, we can slow the cart down. We can stop the golf cart. However you want to control, your property. There's a lot of things that we can do. And, well, the reason we slow it down is just we want to protect the golf course.
Right.
Golf course, that's.
But sometimes it's safety reasons too. I was telling Scott about how at the UT Club, where you have this giant wide open area where you have this giant circular street with people dropping off bags in full-size vehicles. You have this wide open area where they park all the carts. It's right outside the fitness areas. So people are coming and going to the fitness area. The pro shop is across this circular drive from the putting green. And so you have people walking to and from the putting green to the pro shop back and forth. So there's like all this massive amount of traffic, foot traffic, car traffic, golf cart traffic. And at the UT Club, y'all's carts are configured so that in that area, whether it's in the street or on the golf cart or close to the putting green, they go slow so that people aren't just whipping around the corner and then boom, here comes a car to drop off bags.
Yeah, and that's one of the biggest things. I mean, parking lots. A lot of customers don't allow their golf carts in parking lots just for that reason. So that we can either block them off, or we can just slow it down, or even just send them a message just to make them aware. It seems like when a lot of golfers get in golf carts, they just try
to be daredevils.
Yeah, that's putting it nicely. Yes, and the crazy thing is, every golf course that I go to, beforehand, you see one or two broken carts, I mean, it's really expensive to fix those golf carts, get them repaired and get them
Does operators' insurance go down when they put your system in?
I don't know.
I think probably the biggest selling point is not if a cart gets damaged, but what if a person gets damaged or a person gets killed, on your golf cart or your golf course. That's it. It's over. I mean, it's that's a really, really big deal. So that seems to me like that would be kind of, it's not necessarily selling the convenient benefits of having a GPS system in your cart. It's having those added security features as an insurance policy against those golfers who are going to not be thinking straight, or giving it their best, but that could be potentially fatal, and you're protecting them against that.
Thank goodness I haven't seen anything like that at any of the properties that I've been to, but
I bet you heard good stories though about the crazy member guests and carts ending up in ponds and
and believe it or not, that seems to happen quite pretty often.
Really?
Yeah.
So, how many clubs? I mean, okay. First of all, let's educate people on just how many clubs you go to in a year.
I'm at least at one golf course every week for the entire year. And doing this 16 years, I've been to quite a few. But
so you're talking like 40, 50 courses a year you go to.
Yep, that's just myself. I mean, there's 6 other guys that.
Do you have a territory?
Yes, from Canada down to South America, from Japan to the Caribbean. Seriously.
Wow.
Wow, man. Well, but going to 46 courses or 50 courses a year when there are, oh my gosh, there's 12,000 in the United States alone. So how many golf courses is y'all's technology at? Yeah.
I think we're close to maybe 900.
900, yeah. Wow, okay. That's impressive.
And so you're traveling every week. I know I've heard you talk about going to the Caribbean, to Colombia, to Mexico, Japan. Tell us 2 or 3 of your favorite courses that you've been to.
I would say probably my top 3 courses that I've been to is the TPC Cartagena course down in Colombia. Just basically, I became friends with the owner. It used to be a jungle. They basically came in, carved out a golf course, 9 holes within the jungle and 9 holes along the beach, and it was just. It's been about a year and a half since I've been out there, and it is just a beautiful piece of property.
Did you get to play it?
Yes. Well, just the front 9. Back 9 on the beach side was not open yet.
Okay.
They actually, I want to say they had a web.com tournament there last year.
Nice.
So.
And where else?
I want to say I was fortunate enough to go to the Dominican Republic 2 or 3 times last year. So I was able to see Pete Dye's Teeth of the Dog.
Yes.
Now, Casa De Campo, and that was just a phenomenal property.
Did you get to play that one?
Several times.
Nice.
Don't tell my boss, please.
What did you shoot?
Just average, maybe around 80.
Yeah,
like
78, 80, something like that. They just played a web.com tour event there like a month ago, right?
Well, that was the Latin American championship. Winner gets to go to Augusta.
Oh, that's right.
In the Masters. So that's exactly the same property that I worked at. The golf course didn't actually have our system there. It was the actual golf resort purchased our system and are using it to travel around the property.
Oh, so there's not a GPS guidance system for the players?
No, sir.
They're just using it to shuttle people back and forth across the property and know where all those vehicles are.
Yeah,
manage them.
Yeah, this property is so big that when you check in, they actually give you a golf cart.
Holy cow!
That's amazing.
How many rooms?
I think there's maybe a couple hundred rooms. But I think at the time we put in like 60 golf carts.
But it's just spread out.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, and I believe there's 4 golf courses on that entire property.
Oh wow.
And a marina and everything. Yeah, it's gorgeous out there. So.
Hey there, everybody. This episode is also brought to you by another awesome, forward-leaning, innovative golf venture called Rival and Revel. You know, we all look forward to that next round of golf, a trip with old friends, or a rare moment of pursuing our passions late in the evening, the sun's going down. You know, their goal is to make this valuable leisure time even more enjoyable, efficient, and relaxing, offering a variety of branded golf accessories, club head tech covers, and the one and only Silo Golf Club carrier. This product is a game changer in the golf industry, and it may just be a game changer for you too. If you don't know what the Silo is, press stop. Head over to their website, rivalandrevel.com, and check it out. Whether you are the super competitive player or the one that just celebrates being out there, Rival and Revel's mission is to help you make the most of it. Now, they've got a special discount just for our listeners. Use the code PACEOFCHANGE at checkout to receive 10% off your entire order.
I think one thing that I wasn't used to, I was able to go to Science City in Japan.
Oh, nice.
Golf course called Segovia. This golf course, I mean, basically had a castle, which was the clubhouse. Absolutely gorgeous. But one thing I didn't realize is that golf in Japan is different than here in the States. Here, you know, we try and play in 4.5 hours. After 9 holes, we'll grab a dog, run over to hole 10 and tee off again. Out there in Japan, they play, the front 9, probably, maybe 2 hours, 2.5 hours. Take your time, make sure that, they're playing their best. Once they finish 9, they go inside to the restaurant and they have a full meal. So they're having this full meal for a good hour, hour and a half.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Once they're done with their meal, then they proceed to hole 10 and then continue on. So, I mean, the rounds take, good 6 hours.
Wow.
6.5 hours, something like that. So, and
it
was something and it was something to get used to, but it was really neat to see. I mean, they really take golf serious, and they love it just as much as we do here in the States.
So you've essentially in the last 16 years. I mean, did you do that much traveling when you first started in the job?
Not quite this much, but back then I was a regional account manager. So I was fortunate enough to move from Phoenix to Kansas City for about a year.
Cool.
So I handled golf courses there in the Midwest, in Nebraska, Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri. I had my own little territory, maybe 15, 20 golf courses that I managed. But after I moved back to Phoenix, I began actually mapping the golf courses. So I started, all the surveying and so forth. So, I mean, like all the video games, when video games started started having better graphics and so forth, you basically had to go out to the golf course and map the entire property.
Yeah. What did you use to map it?
I had the actual GPS backpack, a travel backpack.
Yep.
So I would basically have to trace out the entire golf course, walk around every tee box, every green, fairway, bunker.
Would you outline the fairway? Would you literally walk and outline the fairway?
Exactly. I would walk right on the cut line of the fairway.
Oh my goodness.
So my first property that I mapped was the Kapalua Plantation course.
I didn't know that was your first course.
That was my very first one. And that was back in 2005. To this day, when I watch the tournament, Hyundai Tournament of Champions, I can tell you the exact break on every single green, just from where they hit their ball. So I mean that's a special place too.
Yeah.
I mean that is also another one of my all-time favorites. But
and you get to go back there. How often do you get to go back there?
It's been about 4 years since I've been back to Kapalua, which I'm definitely bummed out about. But I'm hoping sometime this year I'll get to go back.
Nice.
All right, so I mean, you've been in this industry for a long time. You've been all over the place. Give me one thing that concerns you about where golf is today, and give me one thing that really excites you about where golf is headed, as far as you can see.
For a while there, we noticed that the amount of rounds were dropping. So basically,
So the amount of rounds per course your software is recording.
Yeah. Yes. Well, I not really our software, but just speaking with the owners and so forth.
I see.
They can see the revenues was dropping slowly, but especially with the economic collapse in 2008, it seemed like the same people were golfing, but they weren't spending their money on the higher resort properties. They started playing more of the municipals and so forth.
Interesting.
So that was one thing that we kind of noticed, but I don't know. Hopefully it's coming back. I want it to come back because I love what I do and I want to stay employed for a while.
Has that trend leveled out or even reversed?
I think this last year it started reversing a little bit.
Nice.
But I just hope it stays on that path. I know as far as our business, it seems like we're getting busier and busier every year. So
that's good. And so what's something that excites you in the golf business?
I see all these kids coming out. It seems like if you look at the LPGA, they're getting like Lucy Liu. She's 11 years old, and she tried competing in the Women's U.S. Open.
Yeah.
The kids are just getting younger and younger, and back when I was in high school, golf wasn't cool.
Yeah.
It didn't get cool until Tiger started coming out and destroying everybody. And but I think that the youth movement is pretty exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, even watching the match play, there's a lot of young kids out there, and it's good.
Like young kids, like Jordan
Watching.
Spieth.
Yeah, and even young kids attending.
Yeah. Spectating. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have a question for both of you. Is golf actually cool right now? I mean, has it ever really been cool to like the general population? I don't know, because I've been inside the game of golf for my whole life.
I think when Tiger Woods had the star power that Michael Jordan had.
Yeah, it was cool.
When he was on cereal boxes, doing Gillette commercials, doing Buick commercials, AT&T commercials. Yeah. I mean, how many sponsors this guy had? He's making like $100 million a year in sponsorships.
Yeah.
I think when his face is on everyday product that you use, yes, golf was cool.
Yeah.
And it didn't hurt. He had $1 million smile, and people saw him and they just they wanted to be him. And he was super physical fit and muscular and all that. That definitely helped. I think now people are still asking, where's Tiger?
Yeah.
Now, Spieth has done a lot to provide a different storyline and give people this cool story about this All-American kid, that the 20-year-old with the 40-year-old head, and all of that stuff, and that's been great. But I don't think it's still I still don't think it's at the level that it was when Tiger was in his peak.
Yeah.
But I don't know. My kids tell me I don't know what's cool, so I guess I can't answer the question.
Vizz, I have a question for you.
Yes,
we've done a lot of thinking about how could the tee sheet be revolutionized to take advantage of 21st century technology, where we are in 2016, the fact that people have different, varying thoughts about how quickly they'd like to play golf. Do you think it will be possible, based on what you know, to ever have a tee sheet where time is part of the equation of when you get to play golf?
I would think so. You would love to have your faster players play earlier.
Yes, you have to. I mean, the fastest people have to play first, and the slowest people would have to play last, unless there was some sort of passing rule that everybody abided by and was cool with.
Yeah. Just, I mean, as far as tee times, I still remember calling for tee times when I was a kid. And then Golf 602 was produced, and that became Golf Now,
Yep.
what it is 20 years later, and everything's online. But as far as trying to revolutionize it, I don't know. I think if maybe guys had a time handicap,
Yeah.
so lower your handicap. This is something that you're known for having, playing fast or whatever. You can go out first, or I would know how to
Implement it.
Yeah, to implement it. But
In my fantasy world, like, you would get a rating based on how fast you could play. And, if you can't play in under 2.5 hours, you cannot play before 9 a.m. or whatever.
Yeah. And then that's okay too. If you can't, because, some of the older guys, maybe they can't walk as fast. So, they don't want to be rushed anyway. They want to be able to enjoy themselves, take their time. So
some of them old dudes play fast.
Yeah.
Some of them do. I don't think anybody's gone far enough down the road in their imagination and really, dreamed out how it really could work, taking a test case and trying to work it all the way through in your mind. But I think it is possible. I think you can get to a point, and it's not next year and it's not 5 years from now, but if you were able to show a golf course that they're able to increase their traffic, they're able to increase their revenue because they're adjusting the pace of play depending on people's desires to play. And of course, like we talked about, if you want to play faster, you're going to have to play in the morning. But that seems like that's a perfect fit for certain groups of people, like busy executives. They would want to get out early in the morning and play as fast as possible and get to work at, 9:30, 10 a.m.
Well, a lot of courses, Avery Ranch already has like a cart use damage waiver just included.
Well, they have to, yeah. For people who rip off the GPS thing on the top of the cart.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're definitely expensive.
What is your rate of destruction, or I don't know, what do you call it?
Not to yeah, no, it happens, believe it or not.
So
there's some properties that we've never seen any issues with.
Yeah. But on average, it's like 1 to 2 a year.
Yeah, maybe.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, awesome, man. Well, we're coming up on an hour, so we'll definitely wrap it up now. But we appreciate you coming on, Vizz, and talking to us about your golf journey and how you've been a part of the GPS industry here in the world of golf for quite a while. So I think we got a lot of great nuggets of information, and it sounds to me like you feel like you've got hope for the future of golf that's looking bright, and that we've got a young generation that's interested in it. And what are your final thoughts about golf moving forward?
I just hope my golf game continues to save itself. But no, as far as golf, it's nice seeing the young kids just play golf. If I had kids, I would have, by 6 months, I'm going to have a club in their hands. So.
Very cool. All right, man. Thanks for coming on the show.
All right. Thank you for having me.
Awesome, man. Thanks, Vizz.
Thank you.
All right, episode 13 with Chris Vizzerra in the books. Hey, thank you so much for listening, and we hope you enjoy our weekly podcasts with the thought leaders, pioneers, and game changers in the golf industry. You can support our efforts here at the Pace of Change Golf Podcast by following us on social media. We're on Facebook /Pace of Change, and we're on Twitter at Pace of Change Pod. You can visit our website, paceofchange.com. You might be there already listening to this, but if you haven't done so already, sign up for our newsletter. It's going to keep you up to speed on the latest POC podcast news, announcements, and updates. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe there. If you're on iTunes, man, you can really help us out by subscribing and leaving a review. We were just recently mentioned, or we just recently showed up on iTunes on the new and noteworthy section, so we're super excited about that. Every action you take above to help spread the word about the Pace of Change Golf Podcast really helps more than you can imagine, so thank you in advance for taking the time to do that. How else can we serve you, the listener? What other topics would you like to hear about? Who in the world of golf would you like us to interview next? Leave your comments on social media and know that we value your feedback. All right, until next time, pick up the pace. We'll pick it back up next week with episode 14.